3, 2, 1.
Oops.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Podcasting is War, Episode 8, the long-awaited sequel. This is Critic, your host, and here is my co-host. Introduce yourself.
F. Actually, I'm the main host, you're the co-host, but it's fine.
We are equal hosts.
We're equal hosts, even though I'm gonna slander you another day.
Today we're talking about the critic versus consumer mindset when it comes to media. So you can start, since this was your idea, you can kick it off.
Since it has been bothering me since the dawn of time, there's this... It's just the internet debate of ancient times.
There's this war.
There's this war we've all been participating in, willingly or unwillingly. But many of us are veterans in this war.
There is a cold war between critics and consumers.
And it's the elitist versus casual.
Yeah.
So basically, backstory time, I was in a snob Discord server for an entire year, and every single day they had the subjectivity versus objectivity debate. Every single day. So since then I have been really allergic to this discussion. Since because, if someone talks about the same 3 points every fucking day, you're just gonna get sick of it.
Yeah. And then I keep talking about it too.
And then you keep talking about objectivity and getting in fights with people on Twitter, and I'm like, here we go again. Here we go. So what prompted the podcast for me was what prompted to make this podcast to me was when I saw this Olsen, what's her name?
Elizabeth Olsen,
who's a Marvel actress too.
Yes, she plays Wanda.
For Wanda / Scarlet Witch. I don't know if that's a spoiler. If it is, I'm sorry.
It's not.
It's not. Okay, that's good. Where she says, shut the fuck up, stop talking about things you dislike and let people enjoy things. That's basically the essence of the thing.
The literal quote is, talk about what you love and keep quiet about what you don't. And this has been co-opted as like kind of a gotcha zinger for certain people on Twitter in both film and not as much anime circles. It's more film circles. Just to be like, stop talking about or stop criticizing things, please. Just consume more products. And it's funny because we watched the original video that screenshot is from. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was just some Twitter guy who wrote the caption. But it is a real skit. And it's not like Elizabeth Olsen's character in the skit is supposed to be totally right either. It's like an argument that these two characters are having, but her side is being used. They're like caricatures, right? They're caricatures of the opposing sides, but people on Elizabeth Olsen's side literally use what she says as their arguments.
Basically, the scene has been used out of context without actually knowing what the context of the scene is. And curiosity got the best of me, so I tried to find what movie is it from. It's from liberal arts, which I've never heard of in my life. But the other side of the argument is played by that one actor, which name I also forgot.
Ted from How I Met Your Mother.
Ted, and I like Ted, so... So basically...
Because she likes How I Met Your Mother.
Ted is a liberal arts student or something. I will just call him Ted because I don't know what his character is called. And they're discussing a book. And it's Twilight. And that really made the punchline for me because of course it is. It couldn't have been anything else. Honestly.
It's the best choice.
It's the best choice to talk about. But yeah, basically Ted's character criticizes the prose. He says it's an offense to art, which it probably is if you've read the book.
Language.
And she just counters it with, but it made me happy. And that's the most triggering sentence
It
I've
made
ever
me
heard.
happy. It wasn't the best thing I read, but it made me happy. And that's accurate when it comes to Twilight because it was very popular among. I don't even want to say young women because like it was popular with young women, but it was also popular with middle-aged women. Um, and very hated among like 20 to 30s men who were like,
And
this
film
isn't
critics and book
proper.
critics.
It was the movies who were like got really popular. So like, these movies are low
Yeah.
quality, which like yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Um, but you know what? They make me happy. I actually like Twilight. I enjoy them because they're funny and innocent and endearing.
You also like the Vampire Diaries, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
It's a hilarious fact.
I'm a Vampire Diaries stan, and it's just I don't know. Something about sexy vampires is just very appealing. It makes me happy.
Anyway, you're
What do you have to
derailing
say
this
about
conversation
that?
with vampires. Okay. Well, the point I was making is um, she counters with, but it made me happy and doesn't really explain what made her happy. And when he came back, replied to her with, what did he say? Um, I don't know, he just
uh,
asked her to explain.
it was like just because a lot of people like it, that means it's good.
Yeah, and then they continued arguing. And he said something, and she said, oh yeah, about developing taste. And then she said, that's snobbish, you're a snob. And it kind of just goes down the road. But what bothered me about this conversation is it's not that just because you like something you and saying it makes you happy, that is enough. You can like something and know what you like about it.
Yeah.
And
Um.
when you have a
Uh,
discussion with someone, even when they dislike it, you should maybe explain why you like it because otherwise you will not advance in the
yeah.
conversation.
That's a thing when it comes to like quote unquote developing taste. Uh, it's a multifaceted argument, of course. But like nowadays, generally, taste is only allowed to be spoken of if it's like my taste versus your taste. There's no like taste as a general concept anymore. I don't think. But there are still many people who like downplay things they like or like say certain things about a piece of media out of obligation, like yeah, it's well written, even if I didn't enjoy it, and such things, instead of like trying to look from within and instead of just being like my taste versus what is good, be like make your own idea of what is good based on your tastes, um, which is what I believe I do, because I didn't used to be in any media circle until I'd already like made up my own philosophies and thought processes. What do you think about that?
Yes. I was just thinking, um, it doesn't matter if you're like a scholar, media critic, or just self learned like we kind of are. We all come from.
Scholar.
Yes, okay, okay, you grammar Nazi. What the fuck?
You're a snob.
Yes, no. Um, but we all came from a place of ignorance and childish wonder, and eventually thought about, why did I dislike this? Why did I like that? And the
Hmm.
whole elitist versus consumer mindset war is just one doesn't want to think about the consumer, the other one thinks too much, or something like that. That's their opinion. But like, why can't we just meet in the middle ground and figure out what we like and dislike together? Like,
Well, yeah.
that's the
Well,
point.
I wouldn't say like thinks too much is the
No,
idea.
no, that's
It's
what.
like an elitist is typically defined as someone who tries to make themselves look good or to achieve like a higher status in the hierarchy based on their taste in art.
Yeah, that's what an elitist should be. But what people call everyone who criticizes media an elitist. You have a negative
Yes.
emotion towards a piece of media.
Yes.
Are you elitist? You think about it. Or you overthink. You're an elitist. That's why I meant they think too much because
I know this
I've heard
very intimately.
I've heard the sentence overthinker so many times, especially when I was still in my elitist circles, and they threw that shit around. They got thrown that shit at, not they threw it around.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I'm
what
I'm
does
constantly
overthinking even mean?
I'm constantly called an elitist when I really just stream my own thoughts out in the form of tweets. I'm just like, this was a thing that I thought, or like how I felt watching this thing, and I try to put it into words. And sometimes it causes a reaction, and that's to be expected. But the idea that like I must be putting on some kind of performance, or I must be like acting in order to have this opinion instead of just it coming right off the dome,
Right off the
is
dome.
very ridiculous, because I'm not an elitist. All of my most favorite things are the most mainstream things. I'm literally known for like defending like Code Geass and Death Note and Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia, like all these things that used to be or are still looked down upon as casual or like beginners series
But what
stories.
makes me sad, we've come like full circle with MHA.
Yeah.
But we can't say full circle because we aren't back to the praising. We're just on a shitting stage currently. Not me, the
Well,
other people. I keep praising it.
it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum
Yeah.
of opinions about My Hero Academia, which we talked about in our podcast, I think. About
Yeah.
where was I going with this?
You're not an elitist.
I am not,
Because elitist means we think we are better than others for our taste.
but I am a critic. Or at least this is the first time I've like actually said I'm a critic in even like a joking capacity.
Yeah.
It's just my username.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's also, I guess, a lot of the reason behind the stigma. But like everyone's a critic as long as you criticize, you are a critic. And like some people think they're better at it than others, and they call themselves critics. That's really all it is, unless it's your actual job. Um, but I think it's actually like a good thing to think critically, uh, not just about media, but about everything. Um, Science and information and news and opinions about anything, including art as well. Because I don't think it's that fundamentally different. And there are many things that you can learn that aren't necessarily quote unquote objective, but like have a real basis and like foundation in the evolution of an art form and in craftsmanship and in what typically works, what typically resonates with uh, the human psyche, the human senses. Like there are patterns there. There are very many patterns to different levels of weight. Um, some patterns are really big and fundamental, and some are like really small or negligible. Uh, but a lot of the discussion that comes from the consumer side, which is just like talk about what you like and don't talk about what you don't, or just it's all subjective. We all just have our different opinions, whatever, blah blah blah. Like it shuts down discussion. That's really my main issue with it.
What people think people that criticize slash are elitist in quotation because the word elitist is used wrong, is that just by the fact you criticize something, you're endangering their feelings, which is wrong.
I guess it's true for some people, because some people are very easily influenced, and like if you're
And people
around
can't even properly
negativity,
like what
then
they
you'll just
like.
naturally conform. But like this is
I
why
mean, I
I
agree with that,
encourage
yes.
people to have their own opinions and to like think more actively, like try to put some effort into just thinking about yourself and about what you like and uh about what you like, as in the things that you like. Put more thought into them.
I tweeted, maybe it was a badly worded tweet, but everyone that followed me got the point. I tweeted, your favorite top one anime, I didn't say top one, but that's what I meant, is the best anime to you flat. You don't have to argue. They're better,
Yeah.
maybe. Just say it. It's the best anime to you flat. And people somehow took it as I said the opposite and I almost got cancelled for it. And I was like, what the I'm never positive again if that's the case.
Yeah, there's this whole discussion that keeps popping up like every week about enjoyment versus quality,
Quality.
I guess. Where it's like you cannot enjoy something that's good and enjoy something that's bad. Uh, and like when someone like me or you uh, try to suggest like a more intertwined relationship between the two, like if something is your favorite thing, then that in your mind is the best thing. Like, why are you adhering to a standard that you didn't build yourself, basically?
Yeah.
Uh, and you know, a lot of people do adhere to like a learned standard, like whether it's what they were taught in school is good, or whether it's just like accepting every other perspective as being equally valid despite not like actually feeling that way deep inside.
Or not even sure if they even feel anything about that. Like I would say the past 2 years I've been very open and very uh straightforward and honest with what I feel and what I say and what I mean. But like most of my life I wasn't even sure if what other people told me I believed or
Mm,
even thought. Like it wasn't like, oh, I question this person's authority. It's like, oh, I don't know, man. Just accept it, you know? But then stuff happened. I'm like, oh, maybe this person is full of shit. Example, I was in my leader's circle, and I'm not gonna act like I was as hardened as I am now. I was pretty insecure. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been in the elitist circle. Let's be honest. Um, and they said, "Oh, this is good, and this is good." And I watched all of these shows, and I watched Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I was like, "Is this a joke? This sucks. This is the best anime of all time." And this is where everything shattered for me.
yeah,
This is where the illusion shattered of taste and
yeah.
quality. And I'm like, you're all full of shit. I don't believe a single one of you. That's why I watch every
I'm
fucking
gonna
thing
say
myself.
maybe the critic mindset often comes from a place of insecurity, where like people want. I was gonna say uh, it either comes from insecurity or absolute security. Like I feel very secure about my thoughts and feelings, and that's why I try to manifest them into like concrete ideas. But at the same time, there are people who are very insecure about themselves and like seek out people that are very secure, like people like that anime snob, for example. He like speaks very confidently and declares objective truths, and this is what's good and this is what's not. And that's what like gained him a following to begin with, despite being like a complete piece of shit and one of the most annoying human beings you'll ever see.
Completely morally
Um,
bankrupt as a person.
and I know some people see me that way too, because they've seen like a couple tweets from me and other people talk about me. But if people come to me for security about their opinions, then like I hope to be a person who it stays like responsible with the things that I say and the ideas that I express.
Yeah.
I
Like
try to think things through.
truly, how I see things, everyone is a different person, and some people are just similar. So it's like, all my people, all my kin, when we have similar tastes. That's how I talk. But I try to find people I get along with. So usually they have similar tastes to me and similar moral outlooks and similar blah blah blah. And if your taste is completely different from me and we barely like anything of the same sort, that doesn't mean I can't get along with you. It just might be an indicator that I might not get along with you. And that's fine. There are many people we don't all have to get along. We just don't need to smash our heads in every time we meet each other.
Exactly.
Like,
And like today
truly,
on the day of this
I don't.
recording.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was going to change the topic.
Sure, just do it.
Today on the day of this recording, there's like discussion about the My Hero Academia anime and like how it's changed. And therein comes the consumer mindset, because it's this way with a lot of things. It was this way with Attack on Titan when the director changed and the anime like changed a lot. Even One Punch Man, which like at first was immediately seen as like terrible and awful. How could they do this to such a beloved anime? You know, like nowadays, if you look at people talking about One Punch Man season 2, it's like a lot of people saying it's as good as the first one, or like
No way, that's
asking
true.
asking which one you prefer.
I
It's
haven't
like, which
seen
do you
this shit.
prefer, One Punch Man season 1 or 2? And then some people are like, yeah, season 2 is a little worse, but I like the story. And
A
that
little
they're
is
like,
good.
there's a difference in standards uh between a consumer and a critic. Like if I am to talk about myself as a more critical media critical person again, when it comes to My Hero Academia, uh it's just about something about how I watch an anime and like take in all the information, or like all the emotional cues, all of the visual storytelling. Like it all processes in my brain a certain way, and that's the how I began to enjoy it to begin with, in the first 3 seasons. And then now when I watch it, it's just like not doing it effectively to me. Like I'm not taking in the emotion that I feel like I'm supposed to, or like I feel like the information is mishandled in like how they deliver it. It's something weird about it, like how I almost can't even describe it. Um, but it's about the feel. It feels like a different show. But to the average consumer who just watches the show to enjoy it, they're like, they don't notice a
I
difference.
don't see a difference, forehead. I don't see the problem, five head.
That's often how it is. Like anytime if you try to criticize any piece of media, there are people who are like, I don't see the problem. Like this is completely fine to me. Or if it's like a comparison between two things, it's like I literally see no difference, and it's like, how do you not see it? Uh, and I actually thought about this in a completely unrelated scenario earlier this week, when I heard someone like try to sing a song and they were like completely off rhythm, like they weren't syncing up with how the actual song is. And I'm just like, how don't your ears just like know how it sounds? Like, can't you replicate it? And like some people really are tone deaf, like they can't
Hmm.
match up with the timing of a song. And it really made me realize, like, in a new way, that our ears and eyes simply work differently. Like some people don't notice minute nuances or details. in what they see and hear, which was very interesting.
Yes. Now I kind of forgot what I wanted to talk about. But I was gonna say, I truly do not care if people like or dislike what I like something, but I also really don't like this argument when you criticize something that someone else has a favorite, and then they come in like, "What if people talked about this about this like the same way you talk about this thing with your favorite?" I'm like, my favorite anime is Evangelion. What the fuck are you talking about? You think I'm not used to this shit?
I've heard that argument before, where it's like, what if someone said the same thing about your favorite anime or something? And it's like, well, it's not about it being my favorite anime or not. It's about what you're actually talking about. Like sometimes you can criticize or have an opinion on a thing, but you can't apply that same opinion to a completely different thing if like it doesn't make sense in the same context. But that's how some people think about it. They just think like it's my favorite anime versus your favorite anime, not just A versus B. You know that they're like two different things with differences, and that's why you can't apply the same standard or the same ideas to them because they're not the same.
Yeah, and as you said, some people cannot tell these minor differences in audio and visuals, and that's all fine. But the problem is when you point out these things, and some people agree with you, but most of the people just try to shut you down, shout you down, not shut you down. Because why the fuck are you complaining, man? Just fucking stop complaining. I don't want to hear it. Blah blah blah. Like,
Let people enjoy things.
let me enjoy. I'm like, what? Like, I can enjoy things and say, yeah, this looked like garbage. I don't see the problem. Several
Let people enjoy hating
several
things.
people can watch things and say, yeah, this was bad. That thing. Uh, I like Fate Apocrypha. I thought the fucking what's the name? The Ripper. The Jack the Ripper was bad. I think the
Yeah,
sound design at points was god awful. I still liked it and gave it a 6, so who cares? I still had a good time. Whatever.
yeah,
I've been watching Spider Isekai of this season, which is a two core, which they can't. You can tell they can't handle the production. One episode was a joke, animation wise. I still like it. I would still give it like a 6. Probably not fair, honestly, considering my other sixes, but I enjoy it.
mm.
So, why can other people not do that?
Then it comes to like a question of presentation, because in any field, in any medium, there are always people who like just simply don't care about how the story is presented or communicated to them. Like they don't care about whether the directing is interesting or like communicating the ideas in uh, the best way it could. You know, they just care about following the actual story. They like the world and the characters and the concepts. And like as long as it keeps delivering on that front, they'll continue having the same thoughts on it, even if something about the presentation changes. Um, like it does often in the case of like where a director is switched out for another, or just other things happening behind the scenes.
Yeah,
But I'm
like,
always like very sensitive to the feel. I'm like this
yeah,
feels different.
yeah. Like, even though the season of MJ has decent animation and the character art is better than I thought it would be, it's still not as good as prior seasons. So if you argue that, I'm gonna be no, no. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
not the case. No, you're blind. I'm sorry.
and that's a thing that I also tweeted about this discussion about My Hero Academia, is that like the defenses of the anime come always from like a technical or production standpoint, where they're like, this season has had more time in production, therefore it's better, or like any amount of technical facts to like prove that it is better, when like as I'm actually watching it with my eyes, I'm like, this is not better.
This is worse.
It's actually worse.
You can make a worse product with good people, more time, and worse outlines. If your character designer is different, it's gonna look different.
If your director is different,
If your
it's gonna
director is
feel
different, it's gonna feel different. You can have good episode directors. It's still gonna be different. One or two storyboards won't cut it. One or two
Different
Asako
doesn't
cuts
always
won't
mean
cut it.
bad, but like
Obviously, yeah.
when something is successful and you're invested in it, like I was with the case of all the examples I've mentioned, My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and One Punch Man, I like come back because I loved what we got previously, and then we get something else, and it like just, I mean, in the case of those three, I do think it's actually worse. It's not just different, it's actually worse. But even if it was just different, it doesn't have the qualities that I've come to this show for. And so I often like don't understand why there needs to be changes to begin with. In an anime.
And like coming back to the but it makes me happy stuff. Some stuff is just easy to like. MJ was easy to like initially. So if it just continues to be likable, people won't have a problem. But I have a problem because of eyes and ears.
I think we're in an online community on Twitter, right? And even though there are people who will always
Unfortunately.
criticize something and people who will always defend something or cope,
Yeah.
if you look like outwards towards the general zeitgeist, I think there's actually a lot that can be learned from it.
Yeah.
I had another argument about this when it comes to the MCU, and how I think the fact that the MCU has become like the cultural pillar of popular media in our generation is like quite an accomplishment, and it's actually founded in there being something special and unique about that franchise. Not that like all of it is amazingly done, or that like you can't criticize it or even dislike it, but like uh, there's something that is making it have this much influence and power over people. And I think that's definitely worth looking at. And if you compare it to like My Hero Academia, it's just since the last couple seasons, season 4 and 5, which changed the director and in my opinion were worse and didn't have the same emotional power over me. People just don't talk about it as much anymore. There's not as much hype around the anime. Like people I watch on YouTube, like live reactors and stuff, uh, who aren't like big anime nerds. They just seem bored by it. They don't care as much anymore. And if you look at the scores, like on my anime list, like every season used to be like
8.7.
a medium to high 8 out of 10 when they started, and then this season is like a 7, 7.5. It's like a huge drop in the general excitement for this work, and it's because something about it changed. And like, yeah, you can say just because people like it less, that doesn't mean it's worse, but like it's still something there that changed, something is different. And I at least understand, because I experienced it myself, that it did get worse.
Yeah.
Even if some people argue that like it's the best it's ever been, because that happens with every new season of anything.
For me, as a consuming critic, I would say, things I like just get worse each installment, and I'm like, oh no. And then we try to criticize and stuff. Hey, maybe things aren't going that well because they got so popular, people give less effort. But I'm not gonna say it directly. And then other people are like, no, and now I like it more than ever, and I'm just like, but why? Everything about this is worse. Listen, this is
It's become just a product,
when
which is exactly
it's
what
the
the
thing.
consumer wants.
That's the thing with like stuff with Twilight and stuff. It's fine if you're a 14-year-old girl, whatever, 22, who cares? Girl, boy, I don't care. To like Twilight, but people have made arguments that there's like it's trying to enable toxic relationships. I haven't read the book. I don't know books, but because something like that is so popular, that stuff should be criticized because it could be potentially endangering. I don't directly believe that just because you like Twilight, you enable toxic relationships, but some people might. So it's worth criticizing. And just
Yeah.
because someone criticizes
But at the same
Twilight,
time,
I'm still talking. Just because someone dislikes how Twilight is written and the prose sucks, which it probably does, it doesn't mean it endangers your feelings you've had at certain age to the book. I mean, at first it's like offensive or annoying, but in 10 years we won't really not care anymore. Which is kind of sad, in my opinion. I find it kind of sad when I think of some shows back in the day I liked it, and I'm like, yeah. But other shows, on books or whatever, piece of media doesn't matter. Um, Now I watched them like, yo, it is just as good as the last time I watched them. That's a little bit liberating too. When you're an adult, you can actually argue for it, why it's good and stuff. And that's what you should like aim to do is find the stuff you still like after several years and argue to people that annoy you online why it's still good or bad. Both is worth talking about. But it's not like just because you have a negative mindset towards something that everyone should stop liking it or it should be cancelled or erased from existence. But maybe some trends or production practices are not uh good to what's the word?
perpetuate,
What does it mean? Support?
to continue.
Yeah, perpetuate or support. Like, that's why we have Disney as a monopoly, and even though I like the MCU, it is a little suffocating sometimes. Because what I like is the MCU,
Yeah.
I don't like the constant remaking of movies of my childhood that are 10 times worse. That is bad. I don't like the streaming services tyranny because it completely erases physical ownership, which is bad because you want to preserve art and not erase it for only the time period it's in. That's dumb. Nobody wants that. No art guy wants that. No matter if it's a 3 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, it should be preserved physically. It should be something you can own. If it's only on streaming, it's not good. Having everything in the hands of a monopoly is bad. It's tyranny, and we should criticize that, and we have to criticize it through the products they make, which are the movies, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you like all the schlock. Maybe it's just fun entertainment. But maybe if you just continue to like schlock and then make more, it's bad. So liking one or two schlocks a year good, but all of them, it's a little too much. And that's the thing.
Well, at least for us who like want to pursue higher experiences of media, like we obviously want to encourage that. But like to someone who doesn't care, they might just think that we're like
If
insane.
they don't care, well, if they don't care, then they should continue to not care, but they should leave me alone.
What I was gonna say before was, at the same time, when it comes to like Twilight, there was this cultural wave of this critic mindset being forced on these young girls
That's true
who are
too.
like just getting into just getting into fiction for the first time, just getting into literature and film, and they hadn't really like had such a passion for it before, and then they come into this community and the people are just like, "That's trash. What are you, stupid? Don't you know what good stuff is?"
Yeah, that's annoying.
And it's just discouraging to people aiming to get into an art form and to have a community to talk to about
That
it.
is true also because anything girls like is crucified.
Stigmatized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stigmatized, crucified, seen as lesser. To be fair, most of it is garbage. But it's like with I hate to make this argument, but like with otome like anime and harem anime, they don't make harem anime anymore, but harem anime or ecchi anime almost looked a little bit better. Like better casting and all the otome stuff was kinda shitty. But that's what the girls took because that's all what was there for them. And
Yeah.
that sucks.
Media aimed at girls has always been, girls and women has always been frowned upon, even as far back as like the Picture of Dorian Gray, which is uh, the one novel that I have read fully, and I loved it. But it was very stigmatized at the time, not just because the author was gay and because it explored taboo themes, but because a lot of the readers who loved it were women, and it was seen as like a morally bankrupt work, and that it only
Yeah.
appealed to the women and not to the proper literary men. And now it's, you know, like a literary classic, and Twilight will never be forgotten. And 50 Shades of Grey is the best-selling novel series of all time, is it? I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. It's very
It's
well-selling.
very well selling, yeah.
Titanic was at one point the highest-selling movie of all time, and mainly appealed to women.
People, I never understood why people thought Titanic was bad or
That's the
something
reason.
like that.
What we just talked about.
Because it's about romance. I think we've
This
gotten
is about
better about
romance.
this the recent years.
Yeah.
Uh,
But like a lot of people actually consider Titanic to be the reason why Leonardo DiCaprio didn't win an Oscar for so many years. Because after Titanic, he was just seen as like this pretty boy actor who appealed to young girls, and he wasn't like a real actor in real cinema.
man,
And then
that's
he like consistently proved himself, and he played in like 20 different movies across the board, playing like amazing performances, and he never really got credit for it because he was in Titanic, and Titanic was enjoyed by young women and young girls.
yeah. Yeah. I also had like I also was forced by the patriarchy to subscribe to this woman hating mindset when I was a teenager, where I just didn't like other girls because they like girly stuff. Or
Mm.
not even girly stuff. But now I look back and I'm like, oh shit. I am the problem. I was the problem too. So now I try to do better.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, heavy criticism can ruin shit, but blindless blindless?
Blindly.
Blindly blindless? I just invented the word. Blind consumerism. There we go. Blind consumerism is also bad. We have two things that are toxic. We're just trying to get away from the toxic and where it's good. Just a little
Yeah.
bit of criticism, just a little bit of I like it, leave me alone. We can get along. We can
Yeah.
all get along. We just have to treat each other nicely.
Yeah. Because also the consumers outnumber the critics by a lot. And every time a critic like voices their opinion, there's often dozens or even hundreds of people who like come in to attack you, and often very viciously. It can be called bullying even at
Mm.
times.
I mean, I have skeletons in my closet where I judge people on the taste. Sure, I admit. I judged them by their taste and I got to learn them, and I was like, oh, wait,
That's snobbish. You're a
I'm
snob.
a snob. I apologize. I tried to do better. And then I got to get to let myself learn them. And I was like, oh, they're fine. They're still old as
Yeah,
fuck, though. Their taste is old as fuck. I am not
and
them. I don't have
I
to be
I think
them.
I think like critical theory, uh, like film theory and such, is it's based on what already exists, and so it kind of serves to like reinforce what is already popular, what is already seen as good. And that's like how the idea of classics come about, because it's like the pieces of media that keep being pushed ahead in time, uh, and held to the standard of like, this is what good is, even when something new might come out and show something like something good can also be this. And I think a lot of critics uh, also, this is how they fall into elitism, because they look at like the older works that are all beloved and considered classics, and they just put down anything that's not like that.
Yeah, tunnel vision is bad no matter what your taste is.
Yeah.
Also, the thing with why consumers get so angry at the critics is because nobody likes to be seen as stupid. But oftentimes, people that are critical don't think they're really smarter than other people, or like smart.
I generally don't think about other people at all when I state my opinions.
Like
It's just
if
me.
I have an opinion, I don't believe my IQ is higher than this other person. I just think that after all my years of experiences, I've come to the conclusion that I dislike or dislike certain things. Reasonings being here, this and that. That's it. I don't think I'm smarter. I'm just done shit. I've consumed shit. I've thought about it. I've heard people talk about it. I thought some of these arguments were dumb. Some were smart.
Experience, basically.
um,
Respect your elders.
like people feel endangered by just the way you type on Twitter. So they say to you, "Oh, thesaurus," and I'm like, "What the fuck is thesaurus?" I don't even know what. It's the first time I've ever heard of it. And I don't know a word. I will try to find a similar word in English. I just go to Google Translate and put in the word, and then look in the list. I don't have a thesaurus. I use Google Translate. People that feel
Yeah, English is our second language.
like I tweet like a bumbling mumble child on Twitter, so people leave me the fuck alone. But if I really write a piece I give a shit about, I can have a good vocabulary. It doesn't indicate if you're smart or stupid. It just indicates if you like to be entertaining or not, or what you consider entertaining.
Actually, if you're learning English as a second language, it's actually good to open a thesaurus so you can learn more words.
Yeah. Not knowing every word is fine. I forget words I already know all the time. I forget German words all the time. That's just what happens when you're bilingual. Um, Good friends of mine I know have good taste and are intelligent and can totally analyze well. They say stuff like, "Oh, I wish I could talk about my things so like other people." Like other people's grammar is terrible, or that I read analysis and reviews and like your grammar is dog shit. Your sentence structure is an offense to me. You're fucking the word you just used is wrong. That was the wrong usage of it. It just you don't understand what the other people are saying sometimes. Do you think they have like all this good structure, but they just talk way too much? They never get to the point. They never address certain things. I'm like, this is all a problem. I'm not gonna act like my texts are perfect. I can improve certainly, but other people aren't that much better. That's fine. We are all young. We are not fucking modern writing Game of Thrones in his 70s. I don't know. Or not
70s.
writing, actually.
He is writing.
He is writing. He's writing the moment I speak, for sure.
He's working hard.
He's trying his best. But yeah, every good writer who has a good prose took 30 years to get there, unless you're Nisio and you're just genius for some reason. Yeah, I don't like when people tweet, oh, I wish I could talk like other people. Just try it. I tell you that general IQ on Twitter isn't that high that they won't understand what you're talking about. Just saying,
I mean,
go
like,
is good enough.
I tend to like modify my vocabulary to sound more normal, more casual, and just to like appeal to more people on Twitter, because I know like my vocabulary can be deterring for some people. And still, I get accused of like trying to make myself look smart. When like really, I'm
Suffering from success.
dumbing myself down because I'm trying to get a message through. You know, it's about the ideas and about the message, and I want to understand people and I want to connect to them.
I don't like. You can tell some people just have been dragged through the mud when they say like, my taste is trash and it's bad and blah blah, and I'm like, oh my god, who hurt you, man? I don't like that. I don't like seeing people like that. I want everyone to think they're smart and have good taste, even if they completely disagree that they're smart and have good taste. But that's fine. I'm just one person. Oh, you can think I have bad taste. I don't give a shit. I would just strive as normally.
I'm told things like that all the time, but if I said that to someone else, there'd be hell to pay.
There would be what?
Hell
Oh,
to
for
pay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks. You should be more like me.
It's usually the consumers who like insult your taste and your
Exactly.
character for your media
And that's
opinions.
exactly how I felt when I watched that one clip. Because she has this whole. She calls him a snob because he said they were taste. He just said it. But she like dismisses his entire mindset about the book because he's snobbish. But you're the asshole. You're being the asshole right now.
Yeah.
It's always like they're like, oh, but that's subjective. No, it fucking is. Certain things aren't subjective. A frame is not subjective. Animation, the animation styles, you don't have to like certain ones. There's certain art styles, you don't have to like them. In fact, some people thought certain art pieces in the past looked like shit, but these days they are classics. Times change. People
It always
change.
happens.
That doesn't mean.
Yeah, I change. If I say something and then I can later say something else. Like it's not a
Yeah.
problem.
But like having something go from one art style that's intended to off model is obvious. Voice acting can be criticized as good or bad. Blah blah blah. Let me mold about this shit. If something feels worse to me, I am allowed to say that. It's fine. It's just fine.
Yeah.
Like imagine if she actually in that scene. Imagine if she actually had. Oh, I liked the writing, or this arc, or this character, or how this sentence was written, or what this character quoted, or this quote by this one character. You know, something that actually shows that you had passion about this piece of art. That would be nice. But no, it's just, oh, it made me happy. That shit is worthless to me, I'm sorry. Many things make me happy, many things make me unhappy. And in 10 years, they might not make me happy or unhappy. And today, tomorrow, some things will forever make me happy. Here are the reasons why. They don't change. Maybe I will find more to like about it. Maybe less. But fucking talk about it. It just annoys when you try to have you try to understand people. That's just it. Sometimes I just try to understand the people than the art I'm examining. And if they just refuse to tell me what they like, I will learn nothing. What am I supposed to learn? You just, oh, I just like it. But fuck you. I don't like this idea, man. God.
I don't know if I have much more to say.
I mean, it's fine. If it's just an hour, it's fine. I don't have much time left anyway. But yeah, one closure. Of course, feelings matter, but I don't think if it's just because your feelings are positive doesn't mean the feelings that are negative are worse or elitist or snobbish or come from a place of tyranny and oppression. They want to oppress your feelings, you know. They want to beat you down like a rock. Like some people for sure do. And that's bad.
Yeah.
I criticize it. I hate that. I fucking hate that. I hate the snob. Fuck that guy. He's a horrible human being. I said it. I will say it openly. I will be right. I also don't like when people are like, "Ah, this is well written, but I didn't enjoy it." I mean, maybe you didn't enjoy it, but I think certain things are just okay. The visuals were nice. That elevates the score. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to like everything, but by stuff like that makes people mad, it's because just the apathy, I guess. The apathy bores me. If you're insecure, if you're nervous, if you feel alone, I get that. But if you're pathetic, I don't get that. That pisses me off.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, conclusion: enjoy what you enjoy, hate what you hate. Don't shit on people too much, but try just a little bit. A little bit is fine. Yes, that's it. That's it. Try to get along and try to find out what other people are about.
Let people enjoy things and let people enjoy hating things.
And elitism goes both
people
ways.
Praise and let people criticize. Yeah.
Elitism goes both ways, not just one. Okay, that was it. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this was eye-opening in some way or not, or whatever. I'm sorry if it's not. Sorry for wasting your time. Bye bye.
Bye.